If you truly want to change your financial destiny, you need to understand something simple yet powerful. Wealth is not an accident. It is not luck. It is not inheritance. It is a decision. And few people understood this as early as Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie rose from extreme poverty in Scotland, immigrated to the United States as a child, and began working at a very young age in basic positions. He was not born privileged. He had no powerful connections. He had no money. What he had were strategic choices. And there are exactly 3 decisions that completely shaped his financial destiny, decisions that are still valid today. The first decision was to take full responsibility for his own path. Carnegie did not blame the system, the country, the crisis, or the lack of opportunity. He understood that, regardless of where he was, he needed to become more valuable. While many people work only for the paycheck at the end of the month, Carnegie worked to learn. He treated every job as a training ground. He observed. He studied. He asked questions. He did not just want to perform tasks. He wanted to understand how the game worked. That mindset changes everything. When you stop thinking, how much do I earn per hour, and start thinking, how much more valuable am I becoming each hour, your trajectory shifts completely. Most people trade time for money. Carnegie chose to trade growth for opportunity. He read constantly. Even while working long hours, he sought technical, strategic, and business knowledge. He understood early on that applied knowledge creates competitive advantage, and competitive advantage generates income. The second decision was to choose industries with exponential growth potential. Carnegie did not stay stuck in stable jobs just for security. He watched trends. When he noticed the growth of the railroad industry, he moved closer to that sector. Later, when he realized that steel will become the structural foundation of American growth, he invested heavily in the steel industry. He was not simply looking for a job. He was looking for leverage. There is a massive difference between working in a stagnant sector and working in an expanding one. When you are in a market growing at 2% per year, your effort is limited. When you are in a market growing at 20%, 30%, or more, the environment itself accelerates your growth. Carnegie studied where the money was flowing. He analyzed infrastructure, future demand, and scalability. He thought long-term. While many focused on the next week, he thought about the next decades. Today, this decision is still relevant. The question is not just, what do you do? But, does your industry have a future? Is it growing? Is it being transformed by technology? Is demand increasing? This strategic analysis can redefine your income over the coming years. The third decision was to reinvest aggressively and think in terms of scale. When Carnegie began earning money, he did not simply increase his lifestyle. He reinvested. He expanded. He acquired competitors. He automated processes. He reduced costs. He pursued operational efficiency. He understood something essential: real wealth comes from productive assets, not just income. There is a limit to how much you can earn by selling your time. But there is no clear limit to how much a system can generate when it operates without depending directly on your constant presence. Carnegie built systems. He structured companies that produce steel at large scale, with superior efficiency compared to competitors. He was thinking about mass production before it became standard. This mindset of scale is what separates financial stability from financial freedom. If you combine these 3 decisions, the impact is profound. Take full responsibility for your growth. Choose markets with expansion potential. Reinvest and build scalable assets. This creates a cycle. You become more valuable. You enter promising markets. You build assets. You generate capital. You reinvest. You increase your influence. You expand even further. Carnegie eventually sold his company to U.S. Steel, created by J.P. Morgan, in one of the largest business deals in history at the time. He became one of the richest men in the world. But what is most interesting is not the value of the sale. It is the pattern of thinking. He did not pursue money as an isolated goal. He pursued efficiency, growth, structure, and strategic advantage. Money was the consequence. There is also a fourth implicit element that many people ignore: long-term vision. Carnegie understood economic cycles. He knew there would be crises. He knew there would be competition. But he maintained structural focus. He made decisions based on decades, not momentary emotions. If you analyze your own financial life right now, you can ask three simple questions. Am I investing in myself or just working? Am I in a growing industry or a shrinking one? Am I building assets or just paying bills? These questions seem simple, but answering them honestly can be uncomfortable. And that is exactly where change begins. Many people wait for motivation. Carnegie practiced decision. He did not wait to feel ready. He prepared himself until he became inevitable. Your financial destiny is not determined by where you started. It is determined by the strategic decisions you repeat every day. You can continue trading time for money indefinitely, or you can start studying the game, choose more wisely where you play, and build something that grows even when you are not present. The difference between stability and wealth rarely lies in extraordinary talent. It lies in positioning, vision, and disciplined reinvestment. If these three decisions are applied consistently, the results may not be immediate, but they will be cumulative. And the cumulative effect is an invisible force that can completely transform any financial trajectory. And perhaps the most important question is not whether this works. The question is, are you willing to decide differently starting today? Because it's easy to hear the story of Andrew Carnegie and think, that worked in the 19th century, but the principles he applied are structural. They work in any economy based on production, innovation, and capital. Let's start with the first decision, full responsibility for your own growth. Today, that means developing high-demand skills. It's not enough to simply work hard. You must work strategically. Carnegie was not the strongest physically, nor the richest at the beginning, but he became progressively more competent. He learned accounting, logistics, management, and negotiation. In today's environment, this translates into mastering skills that increase your ability to generate revenue. Technology, digital marketing, consultative sales, data analysis, process management, programming, applied artificial intelligence for business. The point is not which skill you choose. The point is choosing a skill the market values and going deep enough to become above average. Financially stagnant people tend to have common skills in saturated markets. Those who grow financially develop scarce competencies in expanding markets. Carnegie did this almost obsessively. He understood that the rarer his applied knowledge became, the greater his influence and income would be. Now let's move to the second decision, strategic positioning in growth sectors. In his time, it was steel and railroad infrastructure. Today, what are the equivalents? Technology, renewable energy, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, digital infrastructure, cybersecurity, the creative economy, online education, advanced logistics. The strategic question is, are you building your career or business in sectors with structural growth trends? Carnegie did not fight against the economic current. He rode the inevitable growth of American industrialization. He studied data, urban expansion, and construction demand. You can do the same today. Observe where venture capital is being invested. Notice which companies are scaling rapidly. Pay attention to which professions are emerging and which are disappearing. There is a massive difference between effort and leverage. Effort is working more hours. Leverage is working in an environment that multiplies your results. The third decision, reinvestment in scale, is perhaps the most neglected today. When people start earning more, they immediately upgrade their lifestyle. Better cars, better clothes, higher expenses. Carnegie did the opposite. He expanded productive assets. He bought more efficient machinery. He modernized factories. He absorbed smaller competitors. He vertically integrated processes to reduce costs. Today, reinvestment means allocating part of your income into assets that generate returns. Businesses, productive investments, equity participation, product development, creation of intellectual property. If you earn $1,000 and spend $1,000, you are stuck. If you earn $1,000 and spend $700 and strategically reinvest $300, you initiate a growth cycle. And here comes a crucial element, an ownership mindset. Carnegie did not think like an employee. He thought like an owner, even before he was one. He analyzed costs, efficiency, margins, scalability. That mindset changes how you see your work. You stop thinking only about your task and start thinking about the entire system. For example, how does this company make money? Where are the bottlenecks? How can waste be reduced? How can margins be increased? How can processes be automated? Even if you do not yet own a business, developing strategic thinking prepares you for bigger opportunities. Another rarely discussed dimension is building strategic relationships. Carnegie connected with influential people in the railroad sector. He did not underestimate qualified networking. He understood that information and opportunity circulate through relationship networks. He cultivated reputation. He met deadlines. He delivered results. That generated trust, and trust generates access. Social capital often precedes financial capital. There is also an important psychological factor: tolerance for calculated risk. Carnegie was not reckless, but he was not excessively conservative either. He analyzed scenarios, took strategic risks, and acted with conviction. Many people let opportunities pass because they seek absolute guarantees. In the real world, there is no total certainty. There is well-analyzed probability. If you observe historical patterns among major wealth builders, you will see consistency in these elements: continuous self-development, positioning in growth markets, disciplined reinvestment, operational scale, strategic relationships, calculated risk. Carnegie applied all of this systematically. And there is something even deeper. He had clarity of financial purpose. He understood that wealth was not merely consumption, but power of influence and legacy. Later in life, he dedicated much of his fortune to philanthropy, funding libraries and educational institutions. This reveals another principle. When your vision is larger than simply making money, your decisions tend to become more structured and strategic. If you apply these 3 decisions today, in practical terms, you can begin like this. First, choose a high-value skill and invest 1 to 2 hours per day in technical improvement. Second, analyze your current sector with strategic detachment. If it is in structural decline, begin planning a gradual transition. Third, establish a fixed reinvestment percentage, even if it is small at first. Discipline matters more than initial volume. Because what changes financial destiny is not momentary intensity. It is strategic consistency over time. Andrew Carnegie did not become wealthy in 1 year. He built a system that grew exponentially. And the remaining question is simple and uncomfortable. Are you building a system, or are you merely surviving inside someone else's system? Because inspiration without concrete application does not change your financial destiny. If Andrew Carnegie were starting from zero in 2026, no money, no influential contacts, only internet access, what decisions would he likely make? First, he would choose a field with high growth asymmetry. High asymmetry means the earning potential becomes disproportionate to the initial effort once you reach a high level of competence. Current examples include artificial intelligence applied to business, process automation, digital product creation, software development, performance marketing, high-ticket sales, digital infrastructure, and scalable online assets. He would not seek immediate stability. He would seek accelerated learning in a sector with exponential potential. Second, he would build competitive advantage quickly. Carnegie did not compete for average results. He aimed to dominate specific niches. Today, that means strategic specialization. Instead of digital marketing, it would look more like AI automation for medical clinics, sales funnels for infoproduct creators, lead generation systems for real estate agencies, data analytics for e-commerce businesses. Specialization increases perceived value and reduces competition. Third, he would structure digital assets early. Today, assets are not only steel factories. They can be online courses, SaaS software, paid communities, monetized channels, digital products, equity participation in startups. The principle remains the same. Build something that generates recurring revenue and does not depend exclusively on hours worked. Another essential point: radical financial discipline. Carnegie understood margins. He monitored costs obsessively. Today, that means understanding your personal cash flow with surgical clarity. How much do you earn? How much do you spend? How much do you invest? What is your average return? What is your annual growth rate? Few people treat their own lives like a business. Carnegie treated every dollar as strategic capital. And here comes an important concept: Strategic accumulation before display. Most people want to look rich before becoming rich. Carnegie did the opposite. He consolidated economic power before any display. Many financial trajectories fail because of premature lifestyle inflation. Another crucial factor, reading and strategic thinking. Carnegie was a voracious reader. He absorbed biographies, economics, and practical philosophy. That shaped his worldview. He understood industrial cycles. Today, the advantage is even greater, almost unlimited access to knowledge. But there is a modern problem, distraction. The difference between those who grow financially and those who remain stagnant often lies in the ability to sustain deep focus. Carnegie operated in an environment with fewer distractions. Today, maintaining strategic concentration is a rare and extremely valuable skill. If you want to apply these 3 decisions in your current reality, think in 3 phases. Phase 1. Personal value construction. Learn monetizable skills. Work above average. Deliver measurable results. Build reputation. Phase 2. Strategic positioning. Move into environments that amplify your growth. Seek companies or markets with high expansion. Build qualified networking. Phase 3. Asset construction. Transform active income into productive assets. Automate. Delegate. Scale. Now a deeper reflection. Carnegie eventually sold his company for a value that, adjusted for inflation, placed him among the richest individuals in history. But he began as a telegraph operator. He started by observing patterns. The difference was not in his origin. It was in the quality of the decisions repeated over decades. And perhaps the most important point of all, financial decisions are less emotional and more structural. You do not change your financial destiny with motivation. You change your financial destiny with systems. A system of continuous learning. A system of investing. A system of opportunity analysis. A system of reinvestment. A system of risk control. If you do not have a system, you depend on luck. If you have a system, you depend on execution. Now consider this. If you repeat the same financial decisions for the next 5 years, where will you be? If you change your decisions starting today, where could you be? Financial destiny is not a single event. It is a cumulative trajectory. Andrew Carnegie did not wake up rich. He built a structure that made wealth almost inevitable. And here is the final question of this section. Are you willing to operate like a strategist, or will you continue operating like a survivor?